Hey YouTubers, Nightwing19 here. So this is going to be my review for the mid-season finale of Gotham, Worse Than a Crime. So as always, I'm going to start with the recap, give you my thoughts, and write down to my top 10 moments. Because this is the mid-season finale, I'm going to do top 10 instead of top 5. So here we go. Gordon wakes up in Nigma's house only to learn from Azrael Cobblepot that he is now a fugitive from the law for assaulting Theo Gallivan. Gordon and Cobblepot begin making plans to break into Theo's residence and save Bruce Wayne. After being questioned by Barnes on Gordon's whereabouts, Leslie secretly learns of Gordon's location from Nigma. After finding Gordon, Leslie attempts to persuade him to turn himself to the GCPD by informing him that she is pregnant. Nigma informs Alfred, Bullock, and Lucius Fox of Gordon's location. Gordon, Bullock, Alfred, Selina Kyle, Cobblepot, and his gang all arrive at Gallivan's residence just as the Order of St. Dumas is about to kill Bruce. During a clash between the Order and Cobblepot's gang, in which the Order is defeated, Theo, Tabitha, and Silver St. Cloud begin to make their escape. After being bullied by Theo, Tabitha and Silver escape but leave Theo behind. Cobblepot convinces Gordon that Theo might never be convicted, and the two take Theo to the docks and murder him. Later, Gordon finds Leslie and proposes to her. Theo's body is discovered by Wayne Enterprises, who take the corpse to Indian Hill. The scientists state that Theo's body is to be experimented on by Hugo Strange. So overall, I'm giving this episode a 10. This was a really great mid-season finale. It had the feel of a finale in so many ways. The rising tension and the conflict, the big WTF twists. I just can't wait to see where the show goes from here. Gotham is actually coming back on February 29th, so that's a long wait. But Gordon goes beyond the line in this episode. He just drives off the edge of the bridge and plummets hundreds of feet, if not thousands of feet down into darkness. He straight up kills Theo in the end, and this is obviously going to have some serious consequences. He still has to pay for the death of that club owner in the very first episode this season. But I like how after all of this, he goes to Leslie and proposes to her, as if everything is okay with his life. This tells you two things. One, that Leslie is like Gordon's way out of the dark pit that he's in. And two, that this isn't gonna end well. They seem like the perfect couple right now, like nothing can tear them apart. But once Barnes finds out that Gordon killed Theo, all hell is gonna break loose. Not to mention that he still is a fugitive, so there's just a stack of consequences Gordon's gonna have to face when he returns. So let's talk about Theo. He's dead, but not for long. Indian Hill got a hold of his body, and one of the doctors said that Hugo Strange wants to work on him. Now, there are a few possibilities on where this is heading to right now. The prominent theory is that Theo will become Azrael. The showrunner did confirm that Azrael will come into play, so maybe this is what they're doing. Azrael is the appointed head assassin for the Order of St. Dumas, so you see the connection there. It could also be a Solomon Grundy kind of thing. I think they made an Easter egg in this episode to Solomon Grundy, but I seriously doubt that. The real question is how Strange is going to bring Theo back from the dead. I don't think that he'll be fully restored like Lazarus Pit restored. I think that they're just going to turn him into a zombie or something along those lines. He won't be 100% Theo Gallivan. In the Court of Owls, they have assassins called Talons, which are like zombies in a sense, and maybe they could go in that direction, but just make him Azrael, not Talons. And now that I mentioned the Court of Owls, it's time to talk about the Easter eggs. So, Bruce mentions that his favorite animal is an owl. This is when he and Silver were talking in his cell. I was surprised that he didn't say bats, but in the comics, he decides to become Batman because he wanted to strike fear into his enemies. The Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy decided to make Bruce afraid of bats. He later conquered that fear and decided to terrify criminals just like bats terrified him as a kid. So some way, somehow, Bruce is going to have to come across bats and like them, which will guide him to make the choice of becoming Batman. When Alfred questioned Selina was like, well, how do I know that you're not a Martian in a rubber suit? So, she could have been referring to Marvin the Martian from Looney Tunes or Martian Manhunter. But because this is DC, I think she was referring to Martian Manhunter. At the end of the episode, we get to see Mr. Freeze. He'll show up in the next episode in February. It's going to be a two-parter. So, episode 12, episode 13 will feature Mr. Freeze. I'm totally going to do a Mr. Freeze video before the episode airs in February, sometime maybe next week or the following week. But just to sum up his history in the comics real quick, his wife gets sick, he tries to look for a cure and freezes her so that her case doesn't get worse. His boss at GothCorp cuts off funding for the project. There's a big fight, and in the end, Nora dies and Freeze's body temperature drops, resulting in him wearing a suit in order to survive. The New 52 version of the character is a little bit different. Bruce is the one that's responsible for creating Mr. Freeze. He worked at Wayne Enterprises and not GothCorp. So, now to my top 10 moments, starting with number 10, Bruce meets Father Creo. Number 9, Gordon is being tempted to kill Theo. Even though Gordon is a fictional character, I just feel really bad for him because of all the shit that he's going through. This is kind of a good sign though. If a fictional character connects with you, like if you feel bad for him or her or relate to their story arc, then it's a good sign that the writers are doing really great. Number 8. Bruce and Silver try to escape. All of the Bruce and Silver scenes in this episode seemed a bit annoying to me just because it was all kid talk, but really out of this, you get to see Bruce become a total dick to Silver. He straight up says that, "I don't love you, Silver, I pity you," after Silver said that she loved him. David Mazoux did say that we're going to see Bruce develop his Batman persona. He said this way back before Season 2 premiered, so by all accounts, he's right. Bruce even said that he had his own way out. I'm actually interested to hear what his plans were. Maybe we'll find out when Gotham returns. Number 7. Tabitha and Silver leave Theo. Number 6. Gordon proposes to Leslie. Number 5. Leslie is pregnant. So if you don't follow the cast of Gotham outside of the show, Ben McKenzie, the actor who plays Gordon, and Morena, the actor who plays Leslie, are having a baby in real life. So I was interested to see them incorporate this into the show. Now, if they intended for this to happen or they wrote it in because Morena Baccarin is pregnant remains unanswered. I feel like this was added in due to the fact that the two actors are having a child, but it'd be really crazy if they didn't add this based on the fact that she's going to have a child in real life. I would have expected Morena Baccarin to not show up as frequently on the show in the later stages of her pregnancy. They announced that she's having a child in like September, so maybe prior to that she was pregnant for maybe like 2 to 3 months, so maybe in March she'll probably be giving birth. TV shows usually film episodes that are gonna air like 2 months later, so maybe she would have missed out on the finale. She probably had an important role to play then, so they probably added this big WTF bomb because she's pregnant and they don't want to complicate things on the show. Number 4. Gordon, Bullock, Penguin, Alfred, and Selina versus the Order of St. Dumas. Number 3. Gordon kills Theo. Number 2. Meet Mr. Freeze. And my number 1 moment, Hugo Strange is going to perform experiments on Theo. As I said before, I think that Theo will become Azrael. It makes sense because they introduced his family in the Order of St. Dumas, and Azrael is connected to the St. Dumas in the comics, so it is just common sense. I don't expect Gotham to like fully resurrect him. Like I said, he might just be a mindless zombie, but a pretty badass one if anything. So that's it for this video, but here's my question for you guys. What are your thoughts on the mid-season finale? And what do you think is going to happen to Theo? Just leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Overall, I really enjoyed this finale. It's not even the season finale, so there's a lot more that's going to happen, which is going to be really, really great. So just remember, Gotham is going to be off air until February 29th. That's practically 3 months. So in the meantime, I'm going to do some bonus videos. My first one will probably be Mr. Freeze, so be sure to subscribe for that. So right now you can watch my last Gotham review, and you can watch my review for part 2 of the Arrow and Flash crossover. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Everyone's gonna think you're going nuts. Yay, Gotham! They want mass panic.